Hi everyone, it's Cameron the Surf Wolf. Today we're going to take this to practice this to perfect this. If you're a surfer looking to improve your cutbacks, stay tuned because this video is made specially for you. All the techniques we're going to go through today are geared towards more powerful rail engagement on the wave face during your surfing. The components we're going to use to achieve that is more body extension during the turns and a smoother transition between the turns. To give this drill some context, I think it's important to deconstruct the actual cutback maneuver itself. The cutback can be thought of in three distinct stages. The first stage is the setup bottom turn. The second stage is the actual cutback performed on rail. And the third stage is the roundhouse or recovery turn. So the setup bottom turn is crucial to any maneuver and just as equally crucial to the cutback. It's used to build speed and set the line and timing up to perform the cutback in the right section of the wave. The meat of the cutback is the second section, the actual cutback itself. This is where we're changing direction from heading towards the shoulder of the wave, changing direction down the wave face to go back towards the breaking section of the wave. What we were trying to achieve in the second section is to carry speed at all times on the rail and set up our line and timing to perform the third element, being the roundhouse or recovery turn. When we're performing the roundhouse, there's a number of different angles and positions we can perform this turn. The most critical being the sort of the vertical roundhouse onto the foam or unbroken lip section of the wave. It can also be done just as a small recovery turn where you pivot in the pocket in some foam, in a more basic sense. Also, on this third stage, we can afford to use the speed that we've generated from the rest of the maneuver. It's our chance to have a little bit of fun, throw the tail out, freestyle it up a little bit, built on the back of our progress of the first two stages. When setting our course for this drill, we're going to use three specific markers to reference the three elements stated before. The first reference marker is going to be to set up your bottom turn. The second reference marker is the furthest point at which you're going to go out onto the shoulder of the wave to perform the cutback. And the third reference point is where you would virtually hit the lip coming back in towards the breaking section of the wave. From the reference point, that allows us to achieve some repetition. And that's the next critical element of this drill. It's the ability to repeat the skill and do the same sequence of turns time after time, which will teach you to do the fine-tuning elements that will result in massive improvements in your surfing. The reference points that you're going to use in this fine-tuning is fundamentally about the grip level of the wheels. And the wheels in this example relate to the grip level of the fins when you're surfing. You can actually hear it in the audio track when the wheels are at the limit of adhesion, and it's a critical skill in surfing and obviously surf skating to be able to balance that force at the limit. Now what we want to do throughout this drill is experiment with different lines, entry lines specifically, and then in different lines through the markers, different body positions, different foot weighting, different hand and arm rotation, timing and force, and then learning how to use the power and extension of the legs at the critical time to really carry the speed and maintain that edge control. We're going to fine tune that with your heel and toe pressure during the turn, and if you put too much in, you're going to slide out. If you put too little in, you're going to have a weak turn with low exit speed. If we push a bit too much, clearly we're going to slide out. You know, it's more difficult to slide out on the surfboard with fins. It's a little bit easier to slide out on the surf skate with the wheels. But obviously, if we've slid the board, we've applied a little bit too much pressure for the available grip. If we apply too little pressure, we will do a turn, but it'll be a weak turn with low exit speed. So it's not going to be the best turn that we can accomplish. The other factor with this particular drill is we're just doing a limited number of critical turns, and then we're trying to link these combos together in the real world example of surfing without trying to necessarily manage a full wave in its entirety. I think it's more important to manage the elements or the core component turns of each wave and then string those together in some sort of combo situations. If you are doing a longer drill, it can often be hard to sort of really smash every turn and keep momentum through every turn. And although that's obviously going to be required in real life surfing in the future, for the purposes of these drills, I think it's counterproductive. I think you want to limit your drills to small activities and really get them perfected. It's quite important to have a limited number of critical turns in this drill, because we're not just trying to do a slalom all the way down a hill, for example. We're trying to specifically set up a cutback drill, you know, with a set-up bottom turn, you know, to build and carry speed or to build speed, the cutback on the rail, which we're going to try and carry speed through that part of the turn, and then the roundhouse or recovery turn, where we can use that speed to do a hit on the foam or a bit of a slide out in the surf skate scenario, and have a bit of fun setting the board up to be in the pocket of the wave again and ready to sort of accelerate down the line. When we start looking at the cutback drill, it's really three components and three turns. The first turn is the setup bottom turn, and obviously in a surfing sense, before you go into a cutback, you are always going to be coming out of some sort of setup bottom turn, even if it's performed in the mid face. This is really designed to build speed on the rail into the next stage, which is the cutback on the rail. So between those two stages, we're going to have a rail-to-rail transition, clearly. In the cutback on the rail, we're really trying to carry speed and rotation through the whole duration of the cutback. Then the third element is the roundhouse element, where we're going to hit the foam or bring the board back to the most extreme version being the roundhouse. You could also do a bit of a tail slide depending on the situation, and that will form part of your recovery turn. We can use the speed we've generated from step 2 now at step 3 to have a bit of fun in the foam. And that's really where the surf skate is amazing, because when you start doing these repeated drills 10, 20 times, whatever it may be, and 20 times is a lot of repetition, you can just push it that little bit more each time. And that really is where you start to get the brain connection between what it feels like through your toes and through your heels, for example, because everything really has got to come back through your toes and heels in some regard, and how that translates to the actual result in the real world. And that reconciliation of those feelings versus results is effectively what we're trying to get out of this exercise. Apart from the exercise being a lot of fun and being a general also a bit of a workout for the legs and a binding in of those mechanics, because you really will get that sort of autopilot feel of the lean in, extension, rotation, getting on autopilot. But while you're developing the autopilot routine, you can fine tune the individual elements and see how they relate to the output as well. So after all that theory, the next step is clearly to get out there and put the markers down and do some repetition. So this can be done just about anywhere. Any bit of flat concrete it will do, any section of road that's just wide enough to do a turn on. So it really is a catch-all environment that can yield huge benefits for your surfing. Also put some questions in the comments below and wait for the follow-up video. Hope you learned a lot. See you soon. Cheers. Cam the Surf Wolf signing out. Until next time, get on your skate, get in the surf, and have some fun. See ya.